Welcome, everybody, back to another fantastic episode of the Three Man Rush podcast. I'm your host, Landon Oliver, here with both of my co-hosts, Andrew Scott, Big Jared Holly. Week 5 in the books. Thank God, we made it through that. It was some rough football, some rough officiating. Um, it's just bad all the way around. I know we didn't really get to talk about Thursday night just because we didn't do a Friday show. We got caught up on some stuff, but Thursday night football. Probably one of the worst games I've ever watched in my entire life. Out of 25 years of football, that's probably the worst game I've ever watched.
And then this Thursday night's matchup is
I was going to say,
up here.
There's a chance to match it coming up here in a few days. So, it's pretty wild. Just to look around the league, you see offensive line play, quarterback play. I know we kind of talked about it pre-show, but I don't know if it's ever necessarily been worse. And I know some of that does go hand in hand. Obviously, if you can't protect your quarterback, they're not going to play well. But there's a lot of quarterbacks missing, even in clean pockets.
Even Tom Brady, I was kind of surprised with the honesty that he gave in the answer whenever they one of the reporters had asked him about the how spread out the NFL was, how many 2-2 teams, things like that were in the league, and what he had seen. He's like, I've just seen a lot of bad football, and I mean he's not wrong. Not like Tampa hasn't been contributing to that because they also have, but he's pretty spot on with that assessment though.
There's a lot of bad football, a lot of bad offensive scheming. Guys get put in bad situations from their offensive coordinator. Quarterbacks missing protection pickups. I know too, like the Carson Wentz thing. He threw the pick in the red zone. There's been a lot of discussion because of the Ron Rivera.
Baby, can't wait to get into that. That's our first match.
Well, while we're on here, so if you are new, thank you guys so much for joining us here. We're going to kick off the episode. If you did not know what we do, we go ahead and break down a few of the games. We go through all games all week long. Every single day, you're going to have some new content on new games. So if your team's not talked about, just stay tuned. Check the episode tomorrow. But we're going to go through a few of these games here, talk a little bit about what we've seen, what we expect to happen, give you our pick at the end of it, and also provide you with some betting lines, some up-to-date betting lines, if you are into that type of thing, and how we expect everything to go. So if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, bell notification. And then we're also available in audio format as well. So if it's a podcast thing that you're interested in, you don't like the visuals, you don't want to look at our ugly faces, you just want to hear our voice, go ahead and subscribe as well. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon, anywhere where you can get podcasts. We will be there as well at 3 Man Rush Podcast. And also that's our Twitter handle as well. So follow us on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitter handles are in our name descriptions as well. And follow us on there. We do a lot of really cool stuff for video breakdowns, and I do a lot of all 22 breakdowns and kind of scheme-wise stuff on my channel. Jared has a lot of DFS information. Drew is the fantasy guy, so if you have any fantasy questions, reach out to him. But we just want to welcome you guys along for the journey. Let's kick off Week 5 here. Ready to go.
Go.
And we're gonna kick it off with a bang, and that is the Washington Commanders, Chicago Bears, Thursday night football. Amazon is back. I know I made a joke the other day because if you didn't know, if you have Amazon Prime, today, like yesterday and today is like their Prime sale where they're having like an early Black Friday type of thing. And,
Prime days.
Yeah. And I tweeted them. I was like, look, I need to get like $25 like credit for watching that Thursday night game last week.
All of us that made it the entire game truly should get some type of credit for that shit.
Yeah, and then for me, having to go back and watch the film on it too, like I posted a breakdown on my Twitter. It's at Landon3MR.
I don't know why you do that to yourself.
Yeah, dude. If y'all want to do that to yourself, I'm doing it so you don't have to. So if you want to go put yourself through that, go on my Twitter page. But what a game. So weirdly, the Commanders played the Titans last week. had a chance to deliver the Colts a first place in the AFC South finish. Marched down the field after a odd day of football. Not a great day of football from either team. The Titans didn't look necessarily good. The Commanders didn't look necessarily good, but they had a chance to win it at the end. And you go down there, and you get down there to the goal line, and game's on the line. What do you think happens?
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about old Ron. I want to take a second to talk about Ron.
The bus
Because
driver.
I think it is. I think
Ron
it
the
is quite literally some absolute bullshit that you are like you made your name in this league as a defensive coach. You are the head coach of this team. The head coach of this team whose defense, us as fantasy players, we are fucking just please let my players play the Washington Commanders this week.
That's secondary. Whew.
Please, whoever's playing them is going to eat them alive. Just defense is bottom 3, 4 in the league, pretty much any metric you can look at. Pass defense is abysmal. The pass rush finally got there a little bit this past week against Tennessee because they're on like their second and third string offensive linemen. So finally you had an offensive line that you could be better than. And your response, whenever asked what was separating you and the rest of the division, you're going to go with it's the quarterback. While 1-4-1 team is playing with Daniel Jones.
We sure that wasn't Jim Irsay out there? Was that Jim Irsay or Ron Rivera?
We'll talk about Daniel Jones in a minute and how we feel about him. He's the Giants are the next episode or the next matchup.
No, my feelings on him.
Might be the next episode by the time I get done with this. You've got Cooper Rush, backup quarterback Cooper Rush, who is winning games. And then you've got the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the clear-cut, they're the cream of the crop. You don't have the quarterback they have. You don't have the defense they have. You don't have the coaching they have because they don't have Ron Rivera. The Eagles are better in every aspect. But you know what the Cowboys have, and you know what the Giants have. They have coaching. They have coaching, actual coaching, and they have a defense. You're going to throw your hand-picked quarterback. You guys picked this man. You went and fucking traded for him. Didn't nobody hold a gun to your head? You went and traded for Carson Wentz, and
Yes,
you are going to throw your hand-picked quarterback under the bus instead of saying, you know what? I'm a defensive coach. Our defense fucking sucks. The Cowboys' defense doesn't suck. The Giants' defense doesn't suck, but ours does. We're like 28th in the league, pretty much across the board. But the thing that separates the Giants and the Cowboys and the Eagles from us is just simply the quarterback. Problem solved.
Yeah, well, I think too, like it was.
Good job, Ron.
Yeah, I think it was a little misconstrued.
You know what? If I ever need a
weird way,
I'm gonna call up Ron.
Like in a weird way, and it's not to defend what he said at all, but I do understand the point he was making. It's still a bad point. He's saying that, the quarterback for the Eagles, they've had a longer time to, I guess, in that system, he's developed there with the Eagles. The quarterback for the Cowboys, Cooper Rush, has been there since 2019. He's had time to grow within that system. There's no excuse for what the Giants are doing right now. Brian Daboll is one of the better coaches in all of football. And I've been on that hill now for a couple of years. But what he's doing with Daniel Jones, I mean, yeah, like you're not doing that with Carson Wentz. Or I mean, like maybe the right coach could possibly, but
Brian Daboll was playing pretty good football right now.
Yeah. And Carson Wentz, he's not playing good football. He's not playing bad football. He's Carson Wentz.
He is what he is.
He is what he is. It's drive to drive.
He is who we thought he was.
Yeah. But so my original point is because I'm still seeing this discourse on the internet of, well, he had 2 touchdowns. He only threw the 1 pick. He had good, like he's thrown 10. He's thrown, like box score watching. And even when you watch the games, I mean, like I said, it's drive to drive. And But going into that last play, I talked to Jared earlier on this. Going into that last play, so you look, so you've got trips to the right, duos to the left. So three. If you don't understand terminology, I'm just going to try to like layman's there. You have 3 wide receivers to your right, or 2 wide receivers tight end to your right. You have 2 wide receivers to the left, running back on the backfield. It's shotgun play. You're looking for where you have, like, you're taught, where do I have the advantage at? We're in the red zone, biggest play of the game. We can get out of here with a win. Where do I have the advantage at? You look on the right side. You have safety, defensive back, linebacker. Where's the advantage? That's, normally that linebacker is going to push back some. So in all honesty, you're probably having a 3-on-2 matchup on that right side. You look to your left. You have 2 defensive backs, a safety, and the other linebacker. That's 4 defensive players on 2 wide receivers. On the other side, you're going to have 3 offensive players on 2 defensive players. Where do you have the matchup? Where do you have the numbers and the advantage? On the right side of the field. Where does Carson Wentz throw the ball? And I don't look. I don't know the read. I'm not in the room. I don't know what he's being taught to do. I don't know if that's immediately, you see it, you throw it. But if you see that coverage, you either check out of it. If you have another play, you check out of it, or you chuck that thing into the fucking second row. Like, you cannot throw that pass in that situation. And that's not to excuse Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin gets absolutely blown up on that play. Credit to the DB. DB made a great read, made a great play.
The only good plays they made that game.
Yeah. I mean, defense made a play. Wide receiver messed up. Play call. It was a terrific play call in that situation to begin with. He gets set up to fail by his team. But as a quarterback, and I told this to Jared earlier, we were on the phone. As a quarterback, your job pre-snap is to get your team in the best situation to be successful. You cannot throw that pass to where you have such a huge disadvantage. And if your read's not there, if you don't have another play, that ball's got to go into the stands. And you go bitch your coach out. You say, "Hey, don't give me that fucking shit. Give me a play to succeed. Don't give me that."
I completely agree.
That's what
my problem. My problem is, like,
it's not all on
everything
Carson
you're
Wentz.
saying.
No, I'm not blaming Carson Wentz.
Part of the blame is on Carson Wentz, though.
It is,
but it's not fucking Ron's job to air that out to the public. That's my problem.
Not.
It's our job. Yeah. It's our job to sit here and say Carson Wentz has to play better. It's not fucking Ron's job, especially whenever you're a defensive coach. That's what you're known for. And your defense is out here getting
defensive coach, offensive. You're still the head coach of a team. At that point, it needs to be, I've got to get these guys better prepared. I have to do my job as the coach. We'll go back. We'll watch the film. We'll get into the lab and we'll get things fixed. Yeah. That's all you have. At that point,
you need to give them mediocre.
That's all you have to say. And if you're just what Bill Belichick does, just say we're on to the Bears. We're on to Chicago, and that needs to be your answer. Don't throw your quarterback under the bus. Even if he fucked it, and like he played good when like I said, it's drive to drive with him. But I think the biggest problem is we still see these fans that are, that one, they don't know what they're watching. But on top of that, he's got 10 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And he's thrown for 300. He's 4th in the league.
He's like 4th, 5th in the league in passing yards.
Yeah, he's 4th in the league in passing yards. And, it's not.
I think Matt Ryan leads the league in passing yards, or he's.
No, he doesn't.
No,
he dropped out the top 5 after this week.
They're like the guys.
Jared, the thing with Carson Wentz is you can throw all the stats. When it's time to win a game, and this is what I said earlier. I said it's not a stat; it's a trait. It's not a stat; it is a trait.
Wentz ain't got it.
Whenever you have the ability to win or lose a game for your team, do you make the proper decisions to be successful and to put your team in a successful place? for them outside of 2017. I mean, there were some moments, here and there, but it's too inconsistent. It's a no. He doesn't. He will throw everybody with eyes. Everybody who's watched him play the last 2 to 3 years knew what was going to happen on that play. You knew it.
Jared, I'm curious.
There's a reason why, and I hate this because I like the guy so much. I really do. I really do like Carson Wentz, and I hate that his name has been associated now as a verb to when somebody messes up. Look, that's not by accident. People say he winced it, or he did a Carson Wentz. There's a reason why people say that, and it's not because he didn't bring that on himself. He's done it himself. It's frustrating all around, and I know it's frustrating for him too. Like, I know it, and me, I'm going to defend the quarterback until I'm blue in the face, man. I will, as much as I want to blame it on the, Terry McLaurin ran a shitty route, offensive coordinator called a shitty call, offensive line's playing like shit. What do you do to overcome that?
Yeah, Wentz has to throw that ball away. There's no question.
Yeah, you can't look at that pre-snap.
Because that wasn't a fourth down play, was it?
I'm not in the room. I don't know what he's coached to do there. I don't know if I don't know if that's his immediate first read. Like, hey, look, ball snapped, grip it and rip it, boom, we're done. I don't know. I'm not his coordinator.
It's never that.
I'm not his offensive coordinator. But if I'm playing that, and I'm looking, that's day one stuff. Where do I have the advantage? Where do I have the advantage on the right side? Do I have the advantage on the left side? Where can I put us in a place to be successful?
Mm-hmm.
He makes the wrong decision. It cost him the game.
So
I'm really curious, Jared, what you think about this whole Ron versus Wentz and everything going on.
I don't think it's Ron versus Wentz. I mean, they've cleared that.
No, fuck that. It definitely is. I don't care. I don't care about no apologies that happen.
Alex Smith is not a very outspoken person, and even he said it.
That's what I'm saying. Whenever Alex Smith is pissed off, you know something's wrong.
It's all. I mean, yeah, no, it's total. It's bush. Like you can't say that.
So Jared, come on, man, lay it on me.
I don't know, man. I was thinking about this a lot actually today. Is there anybody more hated in the NFL than Carson Wentz right now? As far as no. I'm talking about like ridicule for everything he does. Like,
I mean, you've got the guy. You've got like
Baker's up there.
You got Baker just for being Baker, and then you got Brady, like
Aaron Rodgers. Everything people are waiting for Aaron Rodgers to do something
bad. Outside of like the global phenomenon players in the NFL, I don't think there is anybody that's under a bigger microscope than Wentz.
So let me lay this on you guys and tell me what you think too. Like, I'm not comparing them like attribute wise. His career is shaping out no different than Mark Sanchez's. His NFL career.
Fumble.
Think about this. Mark Sanchez took a team to the AFC Championship game early in his career.
Well,
with a defensive-minded coach.
Darrelle Revis took a team to the Bart Scott took a team.
Who was the quarterback?
Mark Sanchez was the quarterback.
He was the quarterback. Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate. Got hurt.
Yeah, see, that's the difference.
Super Bowl. His team won the Super Bowl without him as a starting quarterback.
Yep.
After the AFC Championship game, Mark Sanchez's career just went down. Like they were irrelevant. He was running into his own players' butts. He's a laughing stock in the league. His coach is starting to get press about liking feet and all kinds of weird stuff with tattoos. And now we got Carson Wentz, who anytime he steps back to throw a ball, like the internet's just waiting. Their hands are on the keyboard just waiting for this guy to do something.
It is. It's like, I'll say this. It's bad football, but it's some of the most exciting football because you don't know.
Now you have his coach going on record blasting him.
Oh, yeah.
It's the stars are aligning. Like this is it. I think Carson Wentz's career is over. No matter what he does from this point on, I don't think he's a bust.
I don't think he is, man.
It's over, man.
I think Wentz and Ron are both done. I think this is the last hurrah for both of them.
After the fiasco in Indy last year, them winning a Super Bowl without him behind center, and now this. They're 1-4 in a division where everybody is 4-1 or 5-0. His career's
Yeah,
done, man.
it's the best division
look,
in football outside of
Yeah.
Washington.
Look, I think you're severely underestimating the ego that it takes to be a head coach in the NFL. There is not a single player that you don't think you can fix. And whenever you have the talent, the physical talent of a guy like Carter, there's always going to be somebody. There's a reason why guys took shots on Brock Osweiler in multiple organizations.
I mean that happened once.
Yeah, Jarvis Russell was the number one.
The Broncos, the Texans.
Like, talent.
The Broncos thing happened. They drafted him. The Texans took a shot, and then that was it.
Yeah,
Carson
none of those
guys
have ever.
The Eagles drafted
look,
him.
I'll tell you this: the thing that saves
then
Carson,
the Colts, and then Washington.
Yeah, but look, the thing that saves Carson Wentz over a lot of those guys is we've seen him play like an MVP quarterback before, and so guys are always going to be
for one incomplete.
Yeah, and that might be the case, but it's out there. And guys
I think we're too far gone from that for it to matter anymore.
I think man, like.
He's not a locker room leader. He's not a leader. His own coach is throwing him under the bus. The owner on the team that he previously was on, threw him under the bus. Maybe there's something wrong with Carson Wentz. I'm not saying what Rivera did. I'm not saying what Rivera said was correct. I'm not giving Irsay a pass. I think that was BS.
I think it's also misconstrued what he said. And that's what I'm saying. Like you can't say that. But I think the underlying tone of what he was trying to say is, and what he really should have said, because he just doesn't know how to use words correctly, apparently, is
that whole fucking staff doesn't apparently.
God, yeah, like they haven't had enough time to gel. Look at the quarterbacks that have moved teams this year. Russell Wilson playing bad. Matt Ryan playing bad. Carson Wentz has arguably been better than both of those guys. And I don't think really, I mean, it takes time. He's learning a new offense. And I think that's the point Rivera was trying to make. He just foot in mouth, used a shitty term. But like I'm gonna say, like, even if it is, whenever that question gets asked, that's a loaded question. You can't answer that question. You have to
those
say,
guys you just named.
You either put it on you as the leader of that team, as the head coach of that team. You put it on yourself, or you pass the buck.
Frank Reich's never going to come out and be like, "Oh, we suck because our quarterback sucks." Like,
no,
it's not going to happen.
But that's what I'm saying. So I don't think he was saying Carson Wentz sucks. I think he was meaning like, we're not there yet. It's still so new. We just need time to chill.
Yeah, but they're 1-4. Like I
fully agree.
I think partially you are right, but then I do think the pressure and the lack of success.
I think he didn't mean it in a hateful like, I'm going to drive the bus over my quarterback.
But I mean, his quarterback did just throw an interception to seal another loss to send them to 1-4, and then he immediately went into the post game and said that. So he might not have been.
That wasn't post game. That was yesterday.
It wasn't post game.
No, that wasn't.
Okay, well that almost.
So it's even worse.
You had time to set on it.
Yeah.
You had time to set on it. And that's what you came up with.
Yeah, that's worse.
That's not better. Never mind.
He had a whole day to set.
Which team will Carson Wentz back up in the next 3 years? That's
the question we need to be asking moving forward. And then what team will Ron be defensive coordinator for? And all this sucks because we've been spent all this time talking about this, and we haven't even talked about how good Justin Fields looked last week.
Yeah,
we spent no time talking about that yet.
I know.
And the dude look if it wasn't for a block in the back on that incredible run that he had, like the
I've
Bears
been on this
well
conversation all night, and it's funny you should bring this up because I literally went in and watched the film of this game
of the Bears Vikings game.
Yeah, about an hour before we hopped on here. That's the game I was on.
Fields looked great last week.
He's still got stuff to clean up, but
yeah,
man, like if there's one thing I try to keep this family friendly a little bit, but like if there's one thing I fucking hate, it's whenever you take a young talented quarterback like that and immediately put him in a precarious situation that he's in. I mean, my God, like what? Like, I can't. I almost wanted to text you earlier, like send a video clip, because there's literally a moment where they're basically they run empty so much, which is fine. Like, it's fine if you want to run empty, but like it's either empty or they're running like there's no RPOs, there's no SRPOs, there's like hardly any rollouts. They don't do any zone reads. They don't run him at all. Like there's no threat of what makes him special. You take the thing that makes him special and you take it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And you ask this guy to run empty sets, big drop back, 3-step passer. Not only with that, but with the worst offensive line, pass blocking wise, one of the worst in the entire NFL. That's got no wide receivers that are winning their matchups. Not even Darnell Mooney. He made a great catch down the field. Fantastic job from him. That's one catch. What are you doing the rest of the game? They're not winning matchups. It's such a bad job of what they're doing with him right now. And the fact that he's even remotely trying, he's doing his best to overcome it, and he's having a little bit of success.
He made a couple really good throws last week too.
Man, he had some he had 1-2 on the sideline when they're in trips left, and your tight end. He had his tight end it was some weird Tampa 2 coverage that they were running, and it was like this Tampa 2 coverage where you still had your linebacker was playing the flat, your boundary corner on the other side was cloud coverage, and he made some throw to the tight end, or I don't know, it wasn't tight end, it's Equanimeous St. Brown. You don't make that throw. Like, you don't throw it. You don't make that throw. He made the throw. And the dude just hits him in both hands. He goes up to get it. I'll send you the clip.
That's what happens whenever you fucking target a make with St. Brown.
I was sitting there and I'm like, and there were so many times I uttered, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? And I caught myself saying it, and I was like, oh God, I sound like Drew. I was like, I want to record this and say, like, what they're taking the thing that makes him special, and they completely removed it from him. The only time he runs the ball is whenever he has to, because he's getting
why are there not more design runs for this?
I know
guy?
too. So shout out JT O'Sullivan from the quarterback school. I know he had put like a couple of clips on his Twitter account too. So if you're interested, I highly recommend following him. He's a great follow. He had a clip where the quarterback, it was a 4th down call, 4th and 4 from like the 37-yard line. The left tackle, the left guard, and the center all missed their blocks. Like, they all three just missed completely. Like, you can't be successful. And it was so funny watching him break it down, which Fields, of course, is able to escape the pocket, navigate upfield, and turn basically chicken shit into chicken salad. But and it's funny that we're talking about this, because even in my group tonight, somebody was like, I don't know where all the Justin Fields stuff has kind of come from, but I've had Justin Fields conversations almost all night tonight. It's kind of hilarious that we're doing this as the first game, and that's kind of what was brought up. But gosh, yeah, man, you can't play quarterback. There was a stat that Benjamin Albright just tweeted out not even 20 minutes ago. Which is funny. Justin Fields is being sacked at a 17% rate, which is the highest, nearly double the second place guy, which is Daniel Jones. He's getting sacked nearly double at the rate of Daniel Jones.
The percentage rate thing is partially because the dropbacks as a whole.
That's true, but he's being sacked once nearly every 5 dropbacks.
Still a very fair point to make, regardless of how many dropbacks they're having or not. But
it's so bad.
They need to let that man drop back and throw the ball more.
Agreed.
Let him does it. Even if he doesn't throw the ball, just let him put the ball in his hands and let him try to make some plays.
That's a simple way, but you have to, when you have these young quarterbacks, and I also too, I fucking hate the narrative of like, well, he's a one read quarterback. I can't stand that narrative.
They fucking only got like one read worth making, but anyway.
Generally, like his eyes are where they're supposed to be. Like he goes through progressions when the progressions are there and when he has time, which is hardly ever. He's not a one read and like, well, if his first read's not there, he just takes off and runs. Like, what are y'all watching? Like, if you can show me, I'll tell you this. If you're watching the show, you hate Justin Fields, and that's your argument against me, at Landon 3 Marth, that's my Twitter, show me 5 clips from the entire season, all 5 weeks, of where Justin Fields makes one read and leaves a clean pocket. 5 times. I will give you one per game, which is not a high number at all.
No, it's but whenever you say clean pocket, those clips aren't going to be out there.
Yeah, exactly. When he makes one read and leaves a clean pocket, because I have heard that bullshit since he was at Ohio State.
College, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that shit since he was at Ohio State. Which, guess what? Guess what Ohio State's offense is designed to? One read, the ball is out. Oh, it's imagine he plays to the strength of what he's coached to do. Incredible. Guess what CJ Stroud does? One read, the ball is out. Imagine that. It doesn't mean guys can't. Just because a guy is doing what they're being asked to in their offense does not mean they cannot go through progressions. It is so. There are 2 quarterbacks in the like. You're gonna get me started on a tangent here. There are 2 quarterbacks right now that are first-round caliber quarterbacks that are the only guys that run NFL-style systems and that can make appropriate checks at the line and go through progressions based on what they see pre-snap. That is CJ Stroud, or not CJ Stroud, that is Bryce Young at Alabama, and that is Will Levis at Kentucky. And if you watched what that Kentucky offense looked like this last week without Will Levis, it was so bad. It was so bad. Those 2 guys are asked to do more, but that does not mean that these guys at the next level are not capable of it because they don't show it in college. And it's a narrative that's followed Justin Fields around since Ohio State. I hate the narrative. It's so stupid. He's a good quarterback. You have to put him in a position to succeed. Use RPOs. Like what? How are you running an offense in 2022 with a mobile quarterback without RPOs? How? You don't have any zone read concepts. You don't have. You're hardly designing any rollouts for this guy. You're not even allowing him to get out and reset the pocket before making throws. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing out there? It blows my mind. And it's setting this kid up for failure. You're gonna ruin his confidence. He's not gonna be confident in his own ability. It's literally 101 way to ruin a franchise quarterback.
What did I say before the season about Justin Fields? After this season, he's going to be looked at,
as a bust
in a vacuum as a bust, and it's not going to be his fault.
And you know what's crazy? He's 23 years old. He's 23. He doesn't turn 24 until next March. He'll be going into his 3rd NFL season as a 24-year-old.
What have you done for me lately? That's the NFL world we live in now.
Please, God, somebody get him away from Chicago. Like, I don't even care if it's the Colts or I don't even care. Like, can we, whatever team hires Ken Dorsey,
trade for Justin Fields?
Can you please trade for Justin? Please, for the love of God.
So I mean, who do we pick in this game?
We're 35 minutes in and we haven't even picked this game.
We're still on Thursday Night Football right now.
Oh man, I forgot what teams are we talking. No, I'm just playing. I've got the Bears at home.
I do too. I'm picking the Bears in this one. I really like what I saw from Fields last week, and I really, really hope that rolls over because this is a defense that he can exploit.
He's making chicken salad out of chicken shit. So he's going to be asked to do it again. Same way he's going to be asked to do it every single week because that offensive coaching staff doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. It drives me nuts. Chicago Bears, and if you are interested in the betting lines, for this game. If for whatever reason you're degenerate enough to even try to gamble this game, Bears are -1 against the point spread, 125 favorites. Commanders are +100 underdogs. Over under set at 37.5.
That's generous.
Yeah, jeez, man. Okay, let's get into it.
Vegas thinks this is high scoring.
Yeah, look, I promise this won't be every matchup, but like both these quarterbacks.
There was a lot to unpack in that one.
Yeah, man,
especially with fucking Ron opening his mouth and shit. There's a lot to talk about there.
That's why Amazon bought these games, guys.
Yeah, that was the whole reason. Literally.
For these storylines that we're putting together.
Right. You're welcome, Amazon. We're trying to sell your product here by trashing both coaching staffs. All right, so now we get into our next game. It is the Baltimore Ravens at the 4-1 New York Giants. They keep picking against them. They keep proving me wrong. When are you gonna learn your lesson, old man? What's that?
I said, "Fuck you, Aaron Rodgers."
When are you gonna learn your lesson, old man? Is that
not this week?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on my front porch saying, "Get off my lawn, New York."
Yeah. Yeah, man. This is wow.
I'm gonna give some credit here, though. I am probably not to the person you want me to, but I'm gonna give some credit.
Of course not. Person that deserves credit.
So number one, this will be the one you like. Number one, credit to Daniel Jones and how he played in the second half of this game against Green Bay. I think his only incompletion in the second half was a throwaway. Outside of that, he was literally perfect.
Hey, you know what they're doing with Daniel Jones? Why he's playing so well? You know what they're doing?
They're scheming him. They're rolling him out. They're setting him up for success.
RPOs, huh?
They're doing everything that the coaching staffs in the last matchup are not doing.
Imagine that.
Let's not go too far here, okay? Because first and foremost, the number one on the pecking order, Brian Daboll is coach of the year up to this point.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Jones deserves credit for the second half performance, but he still played like shit in the first half. And all this has shown me is give me Brian Daboll as a head coach with a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. I want to see what he can do. Because if he can do this shit with Daniel Jones, if this man gets his hands on a legitimate NFL quarterback, like legitimate difference maker.
God.
No.
Can we get Cameron Ward in New York?
But if he can get his hands on a
legitimate, we get Will Levis in New York.
Yeah, let us get one of these prospects, or if there's
they're gonna win too many games to have a shot in any of these guys.
Yeah,
he's too good of a coach.
that is part of the problem. But Brian Daboll deserves a shit ton of credit, especially with the lack of weapons.
So Justin Fields in New York.
Justin Fields would be fantastic in New York. So that's number one for me. He's coach of the year up to this point through 5 weeks. It's him or Nick Sirianni. If you like it, the Eagles are undefeated. So it's one of those two guys is the coach of the year at this point in the same division. So he's number one. I like Brian Daboll. He was my favorite coaching hire this offseason, but I didn't give him enough credit at this point through the year. And so I wanted to correct that. Number two is not Daniel Jones. Number two is still Saquon Barkley. This is Saquon Barkley's offense. Like he missed some time in the middle of the game, but even still in the fourth quarter when they needed a play, they direct snapped that shit to Saquon for him to score the game-winning touchdown. They didn't put the ball in Daniel Jones' hands because Brian Daboll is a smart man, and he knew that ball needed to be in Saquon's hands. And if Saquon isn't on that field, a lot of this shit that's going right ain't going right because people aren't worrying about Saquon Barkley. And that's kind of what it comes down to for me is like, I'm still not there with Daniel Jones. I'm not.
Well, I'm not sold on him as a franchise guy. I don't think he's the franchise guy there. I think we have to.
He's been better.
We have to acknowledge when he's
still.
Everybody wants to shit on him when he plays bad. We have to acknowledge when he plays good.
Which is what I'm trying to do, but I want to make it clear that this is not me confessing that I'm a Daniel Jones guy because I'm not. He's still not the guy. He's still not the answer, but he is just another proof of the statement that coaching matters, and what Brian Daboll and then Wink Martindale, the defensive side of the ball,
I
just the
was gonna
coaching
say,
in general, man. This coaching staff has done such an incredible job, and I still believe some of the players on this Giants team are fraudulent. But there is nothing fraudulent about this coaching staff, and of course, there's nothing fraudulent about Saquon Barkley. There never has been. So
Hey, you are what your record says you are.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the NFL plays 17 games, not 5.
There ain't no 4-1, no 4-1 frauds.
Well, I mean,
that defense,
unless it's the Titans.
let's revisit that in 17 weeks and see if that ends up being the case. But nonetheless, Brian Daboll just showed me that Brian Daboll showed me that he is a legitimate head coach in this league, and if he gets his hands on a legitimate quarterback, this league's in trouble. Because what he's doing with Daniel Jones and company right now, especially considering the injuries and everything else they're dealing with on the offensive side of the ball outside of Saquon, they're doing some special shit right now.
It's the exact opposite of Chicago. The exact opposite.
Yeah, it is.
Exact opposite of the conversation we just had. And on the other side of the ball, man, you have Lamar Jackson.
He finally didn't have to do everything by himself.
Yeah,
for the first time this year.
He's the most, I don't know if he's the most, but he's one of the most dangerous players in football. So this is a game I'm really excited about because I want to see how Wink Martindale, who's a guy who's extremely familiar with Lamar Jackson, knows the ins and outs of how he thinks, how he operates, practiced against him basically, Lamar's entire career. I'm curious to see how he goes about trying to stop him and the game plan he implements here. It's going to be exciting to watch.
And this is the game. All right, Daniel Jones, show me. Like everybody's talking about how much better you are, and you do look better on tape.
He still needs weapons, man.
But he does. It can't be all on his shoulders. Like it doesn't. Like he's not
got Saquon, man. He's not that one.
No.
Their receiving core is terrible.
It's bad.
Like Sterling Shepard going down was the only legit receiver they really had.
Yeah, right now. What you got? Darius Slayton is probably his best guy. Yeah, I like that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Richie James is probably their best receiver.
And I like Daniel, and I like Bellinger as well, but he's a rookie.
Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson are both still beat up. We'll see what happens with them in terms of their health, throughout the week. But and then Kenny Golladay, we know what he is at this point.
He is what he is at this point.
I don't really have much to add. You guys kind of filled it in on the Giants side. Saquon Barkley's a beast. I think
he's special.
Man, outside of what Nick Chubb's doing right now, Barkley's the second best running back in football.
I think Saquon's the best. I've come to peace with that after this past week. I really do. No knock on Nick Chubb, but I think if you flip-flop these guys, I think Saquon is doing just as good. If not, I think Saquon has even better numbers in that Cleveland offense than Nick Chubb does right now.
Yeah, Chubb's got a lot better pieces around him, but
that's not enough for Chubb. It's really not. It's just like I don't.
I don't know, man.
I don't think Nick Chubb could do.
I will say one point to Nick Chubb though.
You gotta include everything.
Nick Chubb's also sharing the backfield though.
He is, but Nick Chubb, like Kareem Hunt, hasn't been healthy for Nick Chubb's entire career, and even whenever Kareem Hunt has missed, Nick Chubb has still been a non-factor in the passing game. And I'd be damned if Saquon's ever going to be a non-factor in the passing game. You could throw Kareem Hunt in the fucking woods if Saquon Barkley is in Cleveland right now. You can't do that with Nick Chubb in Cleveland.
Yeah, they're different.
They're different. In the passing game.
They're different.
They're different bags.
But Saquon is if he's not as good of a runner, he's not far behind, and he is miles ahead of Nick Chubb in the passing game.
Yeah, Saquon's more finesse. Like if I want somebody that's going to punish you for 4 quarters, I want Nick Chubb. But if I want
I want
somebody that I
Saquon
can,
all day.
but if I want somebody that I can get creative with and use in a lot of different ways and have like fun with, I want Saquon.
Give me
It
Saquon.
depends on what you
every
want.
day.
Depends on what you want.
Well, I want to talk about Baltimore for a second
Well, there you go.
because the Ravens they played a little defense this week, and that's something that's not happened all season.
The secondary is getting healthier.
Yep, I think the secondary is getting healthier.
Humphrey's so good, man. Marlon Humphrey's amazing. Great play.
Yeah. So I think that they're getting healthy at the right time to make a bigger push.
Patrick Queen actually had a pretty decent day in coverage as well. That's kind of been his weak point. So,
and I think J.K. Dobbins is getting there too. He's looked a lot better. He looked a lot better against Cincinnati this last week. He's looking a lot healthier. Sum it up, I'll take the Ravens in this game. That's pretty much all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Baltimore. I love Brian Daboll on what he's doing, but yeah, I'm gonna take Baltimore.
I'd take the Giants.
Oh man, the Giants gonna get you in trouble this year. I can already tell with that little smile on your face.
The Lions have already got me in trouble this year, so
Yeah,
I'm going down.
The Giants are here to put the shovel down.
Something weird about that.
Shout out to the NFC East though, man. That's not only is it the best like record in football as a division, I think it's got the best defenses in football right now too. The Cowboys pass rush is for real, man. That thing is
second safety play in Dallas is phenomenal. Also.
And the Eagles might be the best defense, period. And then the Giants, obviously, the strides they made. Yeah, it's the NFC East we all grew up on.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, if you're interested in the lines as well, not the Lions, but the lines, the betting line. That is the point spread right now. Ravens are at -5. They're -227 favorites to win with a +175 underdog for the Giants. Over/under is 44.5. I think this could be a fun defensive game. I'm curious. I can't
it could be.
Much. This is like I want to see what Daboll and Wink Martindale really cook up in this game. This is going to be awesome. All right, let's get into our next matchup here. Keep it going. There's a few more left. Jacksonville Jaguars against the Indianapolis Colts. Jaguars kind of come back down to earth over the last few weeks.
Kind of.
I mean, this. I believe this is what we said earlier, or at least this. If you listen to the shows and stuff, you heard me make the statement of this is one of the worries of a young team like this. They're still trying to find themselves as they get all, the media praise, like, they're in first place. They're the next big thing, all this. How do they respond to that? And they've responded like a young team does. And that's our heads got a little too big. We bought in, basically. That's one thing you cannot do in the NFL. It's a weekly game. You cannot buy into your hype. You can't buy into your hype. They bought into their hype, and they came crashing back down to earth. Trevor Lawrence is back to making rookie mistakes, which if you want to look at it like this is his rookie year, I'm not going to fault you for that. I don't think last year is any indication of anything, but this is kind of like his first rookie year, but he's making rookie mistakes.
He looked.
And this goes back, but really, like it kind of goes back to college for him. He's making a lot of the same stuff he did in college, but the thing is, it works at Clemson. It works against NC State. It works against some of the stuff. It doesn't work in the NFL. You're going to get in trouble, and some of these decisions he's making, they're getting him into trouble. Stuff that he got away with in college, and that's something that he's just going to have to learn. He's a young player. He'll learn. He's got a good head coach now. Not worried about Trevor Lawrence at all. But, offensive line plays back down to earth. Christian Kirk, back down to earth.
One bad week out of 5.
He said the week before he didn't really do too much. He had a rough week the week before.
Trevor Lawrence has had 2 bad weeks.
Lawrence has had 2 bad weeks in a row. That's where my concern is.
That's tough, man. Good news is, not really good news. The Colts defense is really good. But the bad news is they lost Kwity Paye now, so that pass rush already wasn't super great. It's going to be tough for that pass rush missing him. good news is their secondary play has been really great. Over the last couple of weeks once they've kind of settled in. The bad news is that offense, man. Oof.
They have a good kicking game again.
Yeah, man. That Colts offense it's bad. And it really stems. Well, there's two things that it stems from. It stems from, once again, bad offensive line play, which kind of seems to be a theme right now across the league, and bad quarterback play. And that's not to absolve Matt Ryan of any blame as well. There were two decisions, much specifically in this last game, that he had a great pocket. Wasn't a guy within 5 yards of him. He just throws an inexplicable pick. Both picks were bad picks, and they came from clean pockets. So even when he is getting a clean pocket, he's making bad decisions. Of course, Drew made a good point earlier about these quarterbacks and the offensive line play. That internal clock speeds up a little bit. You start pressing. You kind of lose the timing, and everything kind of compounds on itself. So I think that's really what's happening with the Colts offense. I don't think it's scheme. The wide receivers have been really good. Alec Pierce, man, has been.
He looked great.
He played really
awesome.
well.
He looks awesome. Teams are really focusing in on Pittman. I believe there was a few times last week he was actually triple covered, and that got Pierce open some. So he's making the opportunities. I'd love to see him get the tight ends more involved. I think the thing for the Colts is, and what I want to see is whenever you're pressing, whenever you're speeding up, and you're trying to make something happen, and it's just not there. One, they need to fix their offensive line. Just even average. Like, you don't have to be a good offensive line. You just can't be historically bad. But I would love to see them go back to basics. Simple blocking schemes, simple play calls. Get your playmakers the ball out in space. Get the ball out quickly. Utilize some of these big weapons in the red zone. You have, guys like Jelani Woods, Mo Alley Cox, Michael Pitt. Like, all these guys are 6'4", 6'7", 6'6". Utilize these guys in the red zone some, instead of having them run, these crossers and all these little, the dig routes and like all this type of shit. Like, just have your guys go up and make plays. Get back to basics, and then once you have a foundation, get a little bit of confidence, and then you can start building back up. But right now they're just pressing too hard, and I think it's the same thing with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is just trying to make too much happen out of there. Like, where before he's playing in the system, he's playing in rhythm, he's getting the ball out. He starts buying into that hype a little bit, and you start thinking, oh, well, look, I'm getting the hang of this. Let me go out and roll out to my right here and try to throw across my body into in the red zone where coverage is tighter than it is anywhere else. You get picked off. I mean, that's losing football. So for both these teams, I want to see them get back to the basics, do the simple things right, because without that base layer, you're not going to be successful. Yeah, that's all I got to say on this. You guys want to add anything?
I'll let you go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, Jared, you're a Colts fan.
I don't. Both these teams right now are kind of in a hard spot. The Colts are coming off a win, but it's not like it was a like a big statement win by any means. If anything, it was almost as bad as a loss. In all honesty, Denver kind of has to look at themselves in the mirror on that too. It was a bad game. This game should be pretty entertaining. Both these teams, I feel like, have pieces on the offense that can go off at any moment. Like, I love Michael Pittman.
I don't know if entertaining would be the word I would use to describe.
I think this game actually has potential. I know, Landon, you're big on the Colts defense. I think at times they look really good. I think at times they look mediocre. In Jacksonville, same thing too. Both teams, I don't trust their running games right now with Jonathan Taylor being hurt. Naeem Hines is definitely not going to play this week.
Deion Jackson looked good though. I've always kind of liked him. He's a good player.
Outside of that, I mean, it's a pick 'em. I honestly, I'm going to let you guys pick, and then I'm going to get a feel a little bit better on which way I'm leaning.
Yes.
But I kind of like this game to be a shootout. Both defenses struggle.
I'm taking the Colts on this one, but I probably won't watch any of this game, to be honest with you.
Say, there's a good chance I'm not even.
I'll watch some of it. I'll watch it back later, but on Sunday, I can promise you I'm not watching any of this game.
Yeah, I think this can go either way, so I'm just going to side with the home team here. For whatever reason, Jacksonville does struggle in Indianapolis, kind of the same way that the Colts struggle in Jacksonville. I don't think they've won a game in Indianapolis in years now. So, yeah, I'll go with the Colts. I'll go with the home team on this one.
It's tough. I mean, this is a team that shut out the Colts last time they played, and then the Colts are coming off a 12-point overtime victory. Yeah, that sounds.
I don't count anything that happens in Jacksonville as anything. That's a cursed place.
I'm gonna go with the Colts as well. Being at home, I don't feel good about it at all. But I
don't feel good about either one of these teams. But the Colts are -2.
Somebody's got to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
Colts are -2.5 favorites.
Colts prove that
they could tie.
Yeah, -133 favorites. Jacksonville at +105 underdogs right now, and a 41.5 point over under. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This I'll tell you this: when it comes to the Colts, right now they're in a really good spot in the AFC South. They're still in second place somehow. I believe their next 3 games, they have the Jags, the Titans, and the Texans. The next 3
Time
games.
to make a move.
Yep, this is their season. So
Yep.
if they have any qualms or hopes about trying to make a playoff push and winning that division title, it's got to start this Sunday. So if they come out and they're flat and they look like shit again, it's going to be rough. So let's get on to our final game, I believe, or do we have one more?
We have one more after this one.
We have one more after this one. All right, so that's Patriots-Browns coming in right now. Boy, Bailey Zappi looking pretty good. Hey, he did what he had to do.
He looked fine.
Yeah, and that's all you can ask of it. I mean,
the Patriots played great defense.
Yeah, great defense. Yeah, imagine that. And then, of course, you got the Browns out here. Yeah, I think which one of y'all had a point about the Cleveland Browns you wanted to make?
I can't imagine any of us wanting to talk about the Browns, but
Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
that might have been it right there.
The running game is going to be great. Let me rephrase that. They're going to expect the running game to be great, but we all know that Bill is famous for taking away your best option. The very clear best option for the Cleveland Browns is their running game. So I would imagine, just outside looking in, just, big brain shit here. They're probably going to try to take away the run. And that's going to leave Jacoby.
He's very familiar with Jacoby Brissett, too. Remember, he's the guy that drafted him.
He is. Yep. Big Bill is the king of drafting quarterbacks, and then everybody else expecting that they're going to be great, and then turns out all of them suck except for Tom Brady. That's not a shot at Jimmy G or Jacoby Brissett or Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. No, none of those guys. Nevertheless, I digress.
What's Jimmy G's record against the Rams?
What's his record against the Rams in the playoffs?
That's the only one that matters. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I digress. I would imagine that the Browns running game, that Big Bill's going to do everything he can to limit the Browns running game in this one. He's going to make Jacoby Brissett beat him. And I got a feeling Jacoby's probably going to have a hard time doing that because Jacoby doesn't really beat a lot of guys by himself. But the Browns do have they have a very successful scheme in place. They've gotten a lot more out of this passing offense even than I thought that they would at times throughout the year. I really thought Amari Cooper would have to wait until Deshaun Watson got back to be productive, and that has not been the case. So the passing offense has already been better than I thought it would be. But I'm also much higher on the Lions offense than I am the Browns, and they completely shut down the Lions. And the Browns defense has been one of the more underperforming units in the league up to this point, in my opinion. And so, like, we all know how bad the Lions defense is. That's no secret. But the Browns defense was supposed to be pretty good, and they haven't been up to this point. So if they can shut down the Lions offense, it's hard for me to see them not shutting down the Browns offense, especially whenever it seems so obvious the way to do so. And then with the Browns defense underperforming, I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this one.
Yeah, both these teams are going to want to run the ball a lot too. And Damien Harris is doubtful, and I don't see him playing.
It doesn't matter. They got Ramondre. That's all they need.
It's going to be Ramondre Stevenson and Nick Chubb. Who has a better kicker in this game?
Well, Cade York did struggle.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably Cade York.
He choked, though, in that Chargers game under pressure. So, I don't know,
I'll take the Patriots.
That's what it comes down to. It's a kicker tiebreaker.
Yeah, this game I think will be extremely low scoring. I think both defenses are going to know what's coming. Yeah, I'll take the Pats.
I agree. I'm taking the Pats too, and I completely agree with what you said about the I guess how obvious things can be, which is, just a perfect script for the NFL to just remind us once again how much we don't know. But I agree, Jared. I see it playing out the same way.
Yeah, I'm also, of course, naturally, I'm going to take the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, I forget.
If you are interested in any of the betting, though, like I said, like for whatever reason.
Did they give him 40?
Oh, I'll let you guess it again here.
I would say under 40, but
no, over.
It's over 40, really?
Browns -3. They're -162 favorites on the money line. Pats are +125 underdogs. 42 and a half.
42? God dang. There ain't no way. I'm taking the under. I would slam home the under on this game.
I would take the under as well, but I'm telling you, it's because the Browns defense has not been as good as they were supposed to be.
Yeah. All right, and that brings us into our last game for this episode. We'll get out of here. No, we went a little longer than what we thought we were going to. And that is the Cincinnati Bengals and the New Orleans Saints. I mean, both these teams, man, they're struggling right now. They need to get back on track. The Bengals, I just don't know. I don't know.
I hate the play calling. I hate everything about the play calling. It's so boring.
It's so bad, man.
The offensive line isn't what it was supposed to be. La'el Collins, I don't know if it's the injuries. I don't know what's going on. He is not the left tackle that they brought in as, supposedly he's going to shore up this offensive line. And Zach Taylor, I mean, it's just fucking you fall asleep watching this offense. There's no pre-snap motion. There's no creativeness. I know they were without T. Higgins for most of this past week, but it's just like you got all these playmakers and shit. What
but even without T. Higgins, man, it's not like they don't have good weapons out there.
You still got Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Hayden Hurst. Like, you got enough to get it done. Zach Taylor needs to thank his lucky stars that they made it to a Super Bowl, and just off of that, every head coach that makes it to a Super Bowl, regardless if you win or not, you're getting an extension. So he just needs to be thankful for that, because I haven't seen anything from the games I've watched live and then the stuff I've watched back. I haven't seen anything from this Bengals offense. It's like, offensive genius Zach Taylor is really just doing his thing right now. I haven't. And then that's what he was brought in to be. Like he was a Sean McVay disciple. You've got your franchise quarterback. You've got these playmakers. You got all this shit. There's no creativity. It's not there. It's vanilla. It's boring as shit, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, at least their jerseys are cool.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll fucking wear the white jerseys so we can be excited about something.
I mean, you pretty much summed up the Bengals right now. They're in trouble too, like because Baltimore's getting healthy, and that's a problem for them in that division.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot more competition right now. I guess you can say the Jets. I think the Jets this season have looked better than the Bengals. The Jets are like their play calling has been better. I think the Bengals, their best attribute right now is their defense. But outside of
absolutely.
that, like I have nothing really to say about Cincinnati. New Orleans, their record's
Once
not
again, man,
great.
it's the same thing. It's offensive line play. Offensive line play.
New Orleans record's not great. They've had injuries as well, but they're keeping all these games close, like against teams they shouldn't even be close with.
And they're at least creative. Like, without Jameis Winston, like, they're getting Taysom Hill involved.
Fucking guy.
The god of fantasy, Taysom Hill.
I can't stand Taysom Hill, man. I can't. That motherfucker don't have a single role. Nothing he does makes sense, but somehow he finds the end zone 5 fucking times last week. It's just like, and that'll be the last time we hear from him for another 2 months, and it's just, oh my god, man, he gets on my fucking nerves.
He's a tight end that didn't catch a single pass.
3 rushing touchdowns and a passing
touchdown, yeah.
I can't. I fucking can't. He gets on my fucking nerves. Oh my god.
He'll probably finish the season over Kyle Pitts too.
What?
He'll finish the season better ranked tight end than Kyle Pitts.
He very well could. Look, I've got another.
What is he, tight end 3 right now?
Probably.
Yeah. I think like you got Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, and then you just need to have one big week, and you can be the tight end 3. So
I'm going to look this up here while y'all pick this game.
I've got the Bengals. I don't feel good about it. I do feel good about being able to once again shit on Arthur Smith on the next episode. I'm so glad. I'm looking down the little thing here. The second matchup we're going to talk about on the next show is the Atlanta Falcons, and I can't fucking wait to talk about Arthur Smith again. So excited.
Oh goodness.
He doesn't play fantasy football.
That's good.
He doesn't play regular football. He's in his own fucking fantasy land, just sucking ass and trying to sell it to us, and it's not working. I just fucking Kyle Pitts was out, so he was like, you know what? I can't ruin Kyle Pitts this week. I'm going to ruin Drake London instead. Let's get Drake London down to 60% snap percentage whenever we have nobody else out there. I can't fuck up Kyle Pitts. I'm going to fuck up Drake London.
You know who I like in this game, though?
Taysom Hill's tight end 7, by the way.
Tight end 7. And was tight end 1 this past week without catching a single pass on the same week that Travis Kelce caught 4 fucking touchdowns. The best tight end in football caught 4 touchdowns this weekend and still wasn't the tight end 1. What a fucking joke, man. What a joke. Taysom Hill's a waste of space, man.
I played Taysom Hill in that 32-team fantasy that year we did that draft.
Oh, yeah.
And won so many games with
fucking guy, man.
Let's get on out of here, fellas.
Who'd you pick?
Oh shit, that's right. I'm gonna take Saints in this one.
God, I can't believe I'm never at the beginning of the year. If you would have told me the Saints and the Bengals are gonna face off in Week 6, and I'm gonna be the only person to pick the Bengals, I'd be like, "You're fucking lying. There's no way." But here we are, and you guys aren't wrong for picking the Saints either.
I like Kamara a lot this week.
It's just
they're very creative. Very creative.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to be more creative than Zach Taylor right now.
Yeah, let me coach him. All right, guys. Well, let's get on out of here. If you are interested, like I said, if your team's not mentioned tonight, check back next episode. Watch this one, by the way. But make sure to check out the next episode as we go through the next 2 episodes with, the rest of these matchups, then our DFS show live 9:30 Central Friday night. We're going to be finishing up the week with that. So thank you guys so much for your support. If you want to support the channel even more, like I said, go follow us on Twitter at 3Man Rush Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. You can be notified whenever we release new content. And thank you guys so much. We will see you here soon.